It was a pretty good shot, to be fair.
Yeah, I have to say, it was a fucking good shot, without a shadow of a doubt. Welcome to the No Ifs, Putts and Bogeys podcast. We are a no-nonsense, straight-talking golf podcast discussing all the hot topics in the world of golf. This podcast is brought to you in association with Barretto Golf, a stylish, affordable golf clothing brand. Visit barrettogolf.com for all the latest offers. That's BARRETO golf.com for all the latest offers. This podcast is also brought to you on behalf of the Golfer Gang Network. Please do go and check out some of the other golfing podcasts. And without further ado, I will pass you on to your host, Mr. Harry Buck.
Episode 7. Here we are. 7 episodes, and that's how long it's taken you to mess that up, DB. I thought there's a little bit there where you...
Do you know what it was? I've got this big, brand new fucking microphone in my face, and I got a little bit distracted. But we are taking this quite seriously, guys. And we have had now listeners in 9 countries, which has absolutely blown my mind. So shout out to the person in Singapore who listened to the episode about me playing golf at Wentworth. If you are still continuing to listen, I'd love to hear from you, and I'd love to know what your thoughts were, because the fact that some random person in Singapore has downloaded our podcast and listened to that episode is quite something, I have to say. I mean, it's absolutely mental.
Well, here we are. Like you said, we've even got new microphones. Like, we're the business now, you know. Everyone who's listening is going to be giving it, these guys are serious.
Tell us if we sound better than last week and the week before.
Yeah, I mean, we're taking on the feedback, right? So a lot of people have messaged in and said, you know, really enjoying it, but a few issues with sound or whatever. You can sound better. So we are taking it seriously. We've got some new tech. Had a few issues beforehand, as none of us could hear each other or see each other properly, but we're sorted now. So we're good. Let's crack on.
Yeah, the only thing that won't change is some of the outlandish views on golf, and also the conversation of us being very, low, well, high handicappers actually, and not low handicappers. And with that, we're going to kick off by discussing our weekends. So, AB, you go first, mate. What happened this weekend for you?
Yeah, I love it, mate. So, usual Saturday morning round up at Brampton Heath Golf Club. I was feeling good. I did all my prep beforehand. So mentioned in an earlier pod about doing the, stretching a few days before and some breath work, things like that. So I was mentally ready, and I'm in some really consistent form at the moment. So my handicap's 19.4. So at Brampton, that goes to 21. Based on the England handicap system and the difficulty rating at Brampton. So off 21. And the last 5 weeks, I've gone +2. So starting on Saturday, March the 16th, I was +2. Then I was even. Then I was +1. Then I was even. And this Saturday, again, I was +1 on 21 over. So, I'm in good form. I'm playing. I've kind of worked it out quite well. So obviously I changed at the beginning of February golf courses. So worked it out a bit now. I'm going nicely. I feel like a low score is not that far away. So I've been between sort of 95 and 93 for those past 5 weeks. So I'm not far off getting into the 80s, I don't think. Again, I had a few issues putting. So I guess my form is really consistent in terms of scoring, but if you go back to 3 weeks ago, I hit a 94 which was included 40 putts. And then in between, and yesterday or on Saturday, I had 94 with 41 putts. But in between, right, I had a 93 with 28 putts. So basically, I'm scoring wise, I'm in good form. The day I can put it all together in one round, I'm going to go quite well, I think.
That
So
is just golf, isn't it? That
yeah,
is golf in a
the
nutshell.
two
Terrible
rounds.
golf in a nutshell. That.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, 2 rounds where I've hit over 40 putts, and then the one in the middle with 28 putts, I couldn't hit an iron to save my life. So I had a bit of a mare with the driver that day as well, whereas I'm usually pretty solid. I was checking my stats again. I've got a lot of stats tonight, by the way, folks. So
I
stay
don't know if
tuned.
anyone's clocked on yet, but AB really likes stats.
Yeah. So for one of my personal stats, my driving is now 60% fairway. So I'm very proud of that for
That is actually pretty
2024.
good.
Yeah,
How
mate.
wide are the fucking fairways? Because I've seen you
No,
drive.
no,
golf before.
no, they're not that wide, mate. I'm actually. It's the one thing I look forward to every week is to wake up on a Saturday, tee up my ball on 14 holes, and spank the driver. So
That's quite
I'm,
sweet, mate. to be honest.
huh? Yeah, I'm
That's quite
absolutely loving it. It's getting me through work at the moment. You know, just getting up every day and just waiting to go out on a Saturday and hit my driver. So yeah, 60% fairways for 2024. So I'm quite happy with that. Scoring wise, I'm quite happy with that. My handicap is right. It's accurate at the moment. I'm hitting it week in, week out. So yeah, I'm playing some really good, consistent golf. I think what this weekend also showed as well is I need a new set of clubs. So I'm
Really?
in the market. Yeah, I'm in the market. So DB will know this, but no one else will. But my clubs, basically, when we started golf in 2020, I purchased my set off Facebook Marketplace for 150 quid. Luckily, when I collected them, I thought they were going to be secondhand, but they ended up being brand new because someone won them in the raffle. And because I'm left handed, they didn't need them. And so they just sold them for 150 quid. So I got a full set. Well, not quite a full set. I'll come on to that because part
It's
of
a
the
bit of
problem
a
is,
Trago Mill set, though, isn't it? Let's be
yeah,
honest.
they've done me well. You know, they've done me well over
For
the
the
last 4
Cornish
years.
listeners, that one is.
Yeah, I was about to say, hold on. We got people in Singapore listening to this. Does anyone want to explain what Trago Mills is?
Yeah, it's
Harrods in the
not where
wood.
you want to buy your golf clubs from. Google it and see what your thoughts are.
Yeah, but I guess so. I've only ever had 11 clubs basically, and so one thing that really showed up this weekend was how I have a lack of wedges. So my yardages between I basically have a sand wedge and a pitching wedge, and so I was quite often in between. And I basically, if I was to do pitching wedge, it would have gone too long, and if I did sand wedge, which I ended up doing quite a few times, I ended up playing myself into greenside bunkers, which cost me quite a few shots. And so I'm inspired to get a new golf set. Basically, I
You
think
sound inspired.
it's about time I went out. I think we fully committed to golf now. Back in 2020, the end of lockdown, we didn't know if it was going to become a lifestyle choice or if it was just going to be a phase, but it's definitely a lifestyle choice. We've invested far too much.
It's taken you 4 years, a company, 2 golf clubs, and now a podcast to decide that you are committed to golf. Is that
Well,
what?
yeah. I mean, when you put it like that, it sounds a bit silly, but I mean, I've
It,
always
it,
been
it takes
committed
me.
to it.
It takes me one shot, and I go, "Yep, that's it. I'm done. Like, get me
Yeah.
involved. Get me whatever the latest like gadget is. I'm in."
Yeah, no, I mean, I've always been committed. I've been happy with my set as well. I just think to go to the next level, start bringing down my handicap, and things like that, I need to just invest in a proper set of clubs, really. So,
Well, I think you're going to
yeah.
have to, mate, because I'm starting to bridge the gap a little bit.
What do you mean?
Well, between my handicap and your handicap, there was a period in time where they were quite close.
Yeah, but
now
what are you on now? You're on 18. I'm on 19.4.
No, I'm not on 18. My index, drum roll, is 16.7, which gives me 18 shots at North Mid.
Right, yeah, fine.
And what was yours
So-
again? Sorry? No.
It's
What was it?
19.4 at the moment, but don't worry,
Oh.
it'll be coming down. It's going to be coming down. Don't worry.
Okay.
I'm going to get myself. I mean, how long have you had? You invested like £2,000 in a set of clubs, and you've been like floundering around at 19 as well until the last couple of weeks. So, and you've
Yeah.
been playing golf pretty much every day for the last year and a half. So,
Well, we'll come on to that. We'll come on to that in a minute. But
yeah.
I was
Well,
going to
yeah.
say,
Anyway,
AB, you're quite like a religious morning golfer, aren't you? Like Saturday
absolutely,
morning,
mate.
that's your thing. And you prefer morning golf to evening golf?
So, not necessarily. I'd get up every Saturday without fail and play. So that's our usual slot. Evening golf, I do really enjoy. So as soon as we start getting some decent weather in England, I will be getting out in the evenings as well. But one thing I don't like is kind of middle of the day. I can't stand a late morning tee time or like an afternoon tee time because that like just takes a bit too long, and there's always a lot of other stuff that I'd like prefer to do. So yeah, morning or evening for me for sure. But yeah, definitely I'm more regular in the morning, um, especially on a Saturday. So
Because we actually managed to escape work early on a Friday, last Friday, me and
oh
DB.
yeah, yeah. Cheers for the invite, boys.
no problem. I've got to say, right? So I was actually shout out DB's boss, which is actually me. I was getting my haircut on Friday morning, and my phone was going off the chain, and it was young Mr. Harry Clark saying, "What are you doing this evening?" And I got all nervous because I thought, "Oh no, what's he going to come out with?" And he said, "Do you want to go play some golf?" So I said, "Yes, I do." And it was a lovely evening, wasn't it, Harry?
No, it was good. It was really good. Yeah,
It was genuinely very
managed to sneak
sunny.
a 418.
Yeah, very
418
sunny.
off work.
So we decided to play at North Mid because it was just before our summer rates changed. So I think you got on there for 30 quid, I think, didn't you?
Yep,
Yeah,
30
which
quid.
isn't
30.
isn't bad with a guest. So yeah, and I was bounded in off the back of a lesson which I had on Thursday night. So I was looking forward to getting out before I played again on Saturday. So I had a really good lesson on Thursday night at a studio in Hertfordshire near where I live called Body Swing Solution. Shout out Body Swing Solution. They have been listening to the podcast and they have actually been keeping tabs on what's been going on. So I will shout them out. They're very good guys. They look after me very well. One thing that he did that I found really useful at the lesson was he was basically just like, it's playing season now. So I'm gonna I can't remember quite the turn of phrase that he used, but it was something along the lines of, I'm gonna give you an imperfection to correct an imperfection, right? So what he's tried to not do is make my swing perfect, but he's overcorrected something. So he overcorrected the face of the club. This is where he's going to listen to this and realize that I actually have no idea what he's fucking talking about, by the way. Right? But he basically, I've got a massive slice slash shank, and it basically he showed me the face, the club face coming down and approaching the ball, and it was honestly like I was like trying to skim the ball off the floor. Like the club face was so open with an iron. So basically, what I've got to try and do is get the top of my left hand pointing at the ground on the way through, and it closes the club face on the way through. So as long as the club face is pointing to the left, because the way I throw my body at the ball, it should actually mean that when I strike it, it's actually straight because the rest of me isn't straight. So I've got to overcorrect it. And I'm actually hitting the ball straighter than I've ever hit before in my life, which Clarky can vouch for a little bit because we did go play on Friday night. But are you going to tell everyone about your opening tee shot, Clarky, or should I say tee
Yeah,
shot?
yeah. More,
What
right,
happened about it, mate?
let's not let's. You don't need to dig me out. I can do that myself. So obviously, like we've turned up. I was a little bit late. We'd like got tea time at 5:15, or 5:10, and we got there like bang on. I haven't gone on a course in God knows how long. So for those who are worried about going out on a course, like these sort of things happen. I assume. I hope this happens to other people because we get up to the first tee, and I think the thing which is most nervy about being on that first tee is normally there's a clubhouse there. The clubhouse isn't there at North Mid, is it? But what you do have is people playing on another course, another hole coming up. What hole is that, DB?
That'd
Like
be
right
the
behind.
green, and then there's the 7th tee and basically the 11th tee as well, and the pro shop. So there's usually a good crowd of people knocking around.
And they're obviously waiting for us to tee off. So DB goes off first. Wax is somewhere down there. Yeah, it's not on the fairway. I feel maybe it was on the fairway, actually. I might be doing you a disservice there. It was on the fairway.
I feel like I might have duffed it, but I can't remember. We were straight out the car as well, which didn't help. I will give you that.
I've teed the ball up. I've gone. I'll tell you what. I'm going to take a 3-wood instead of my driver because I'm just going to shank the driver. And yeah, obviously got up to the ball. Now I have absolutely I've put everything in my house behind me and completely missed the ball. Like completely.
Oh no, you missed the ball completely.
Yeah. Just inside of it, you know, where like you snatch at it. I was like, right, okay. Okay, looked up at Dan as if to go like, come on, a little bit of help, mate. What's the crack? What have I done wrong there? By the way, for anyone listening, I play off of like 105. So let's not set the record straight here. I'm not a very good golfer. So I've missed the ball once. I've looked up at Dan. He hasn't laughed, hasn't smirked or anything. It's all right, mate. This thing's happen. I've gone again and completely missed the ball again. At this point, At this point, a geezer's now just gone on the green. He's like, I'm not waiting for this. I'm going to take my putt. I've looked around and gone, okay, great, no problem then. I think it was my third one where I've made a bit of contact with the ball, but because I've teed it up a little bit too high for my 3-wood, I've just gone straight underneath it. The ball's probably gone like wedge distance, about 100 yards. And that was one of those you got to put behind you because otherwise that's going to really affect your round. But yeah, it wasn't the best of starts to a round, put it that way.
Do you know what though? You could see the adrenaline pumping through Port Clarkie because he was a bit flustered because the tubes were a bit fucked up, so we were a bit late getting there, and so obviously we literally got there, and John was trying to shut the pro shops. We were like in, pay, out, and then we was literally straight on the tee. So I can understand why he was a little bit flustered. It wasn't just ordinary first tee nerves, but he has tried to put this ball from North Middlesex, may as well try to hit it up to fucking Watford, mate. He's swung into next week. Like he was going for it big time. But overall, what I will say about this guy, he hits it far. There was a few times when he catches it. I reckon there was a couple of times where he hit 6-iron like 200 yards. He flew a couple of greens when he was smoking it. And when he got the driver right, it went. It really went. He's got a bit because his driver's probably older than us as well, and he was still catching it and knocking it down there. So overall, it wasn't the worst round I've seen, to be honest. There's a lot to work with. I think you can tell that you're a bit of a natural sportsman. If you had a couple of days out or a couple of rounds, like in short space of time, like if you went on like a golf holiday or something, by the 5th day, you wouldn't look like not a golfer. Do you know what I mean? Like there'd be worse people around than you.
It's an exciting round with me. I think you're going to get some shots that are going to go really well. You're going to get a lot of shots that don't go so well, and a lot of putts as well. Like AB, you were mentioning 40. Yeah, we're sort of averaging those numbers. So yeah, I'm up with you. No problem.
I'm pretty sure. Did you get 2 pars though? Or was it 1 par? There was definitely
2 pars. 2 pars.
2 pars. 2 genuine pars. But yeah, one for you, AB. Obviously, you weren't there. On the 12th hole, I've teed off with my 3-wood. It's the one that the head just lines the whole right-hand side of the fairway. I've real hooked it, which happens following my lesson a little bit. And it's clipped the first set of trees. It's sort of like bounced out a little bit, and then like at the ball was like bending a bit that way. It's hit another tree a bit further down, and then bounced square into the middle of the fairway, and it was by the 150-yard marker. It's a 400-yard hole, so I've hit 2 trees with a 3-wood, and it's gone 250 yards.
We could do a whole podcast on your fucking bounces off trees, and
don't worry, it gets worse because then I went to hit a 7-iron in to 150, which is actually, it was probably a bit too much club, to be honest with you, but it was getting a bit cold out, so I thought I'd just try and land it on the green. Thinned it. It rolled through both bunkers and lipped out of the bottom bunker, which actually left me with a pin high chip. So, but I was just off the green. So obviously I just chipped it on and stuck it in the hole, as you do. So two trees, two bunkers. Thank you.
You know the famous saying, there's no pictures on the scorecard.
So yeah, but yeah, we had a good time. And that, to be honest, helped me out because I got a few of the bad habits out before Saturday morning, where I played in a competition at the club. And I was actually in a little bit of dire straits on Saturday morning because I went a different route to the golf club than I would usually do, because I needed to go to the big Tesco's to purchase some Perfect Teds. Shout out Perfect Teds. If you want to sponsor the podcast, you know where we are. We are actually in each other's DMs on Instagram, so let me know. I think it was actually the guy's birthday today. I saw on Instagram. Happy birthday, Ted. But then that spat me out onto the M1, and as I was coming up the slip road on the M1, the safety car, I don't know what the technical term is, sound like I'm driving the F1, but a safety car stopped all the traffic and there was a crash, and I was at a standstill, and then all of a sudden it ticked up to about 7:10, 7:15. I'm 10 off at 3 minutes past 8. I've got to go get my mate as well. So I managed to get in. We got to the golf club about 20 to 8, but I tried to stay very calm. I was listening to a bit of country music on Spotify, singing away. And yeah, I was really enjoying myself, having a good sing song. Managed to get my mate. We got there. I actually, as well, this day had breakfast at home, where often we usually stop at a cafe. So I wasn't worried about eating food because I couldn't play a full round without breakfast. So I was in straight up, and we were basically a couple of shots and straight on the tee. And I played very well. So I actually hit 7 pars in my round, which is mental because I shouldn't really be able to do that. But I let the concentration slip a little bit on a few occasions. And I managed on the 16th. So I got myself back into the round with back-to-back pars on the 14th and 15th, which are tricky holes. And on the 16th, I found myself in the bunker. I played like the best bunker shot I've ever played, ever. And it's like rolled around the green, straight out, lovely flight, rolled around the green, left myself 2 foot putt for the par, and tapped it. It rimmed the hole. And then I was literally about 2 inches away from the hole, and I was sort of talking because I thought, oh, I'll just tap it in. Tapped it in, rimmed it again, and it's stroke play. So I had to then tap it back in. So
shocker.
Yeah, I got a 5. I 3-putted from 2 foot, which looking back on it, because I was a bit frustrated, and actually I was 3 foot for a birdie on 17, which would have picked me up another 2 shots. So on the which I then missed because I was still livid about the one before. So in reality, if I got those 4 shots, I actually would have been tied for the lead. There was a few other stinky shots that I had. I lost 1 ball where I probably tried to go a bit far, but managed to salvage the round with the 7 pars, and I came 3rd in the competition. So I won a big £13.50, which has gone on my bar card as of yesterday. So I will be spending that on a pint of orange juice and lemonade, quite likely on Saturday lunchtime, before maybe with a bit of Thai food. So shout out North Middlesex Golf Club. Thanks very much for that.
Nice. So 7 pars, probably about 54 trees, and what a 3-putt from 2 feet as well. What a lovely round.
Yeah, there was a couple of moments where I honestly I felt like I was playing such good golf. It's actually frustrated me a little bit because for a change, I actually played like so much better than what the scorecard says. Whereas usually when you play golf with me, the scorecard's quite flattering if you watched it. But I was actually playing really good golf and just doing stupid things. So, but there we go. I've actually been playing the most consistent golf of my career. My handicap is currently the lowest index it's been. 16.7. 5 of my scoring rounds are in the last 7. So obviously I'm trending in the right direction. So hopefully be out again this Saturday, weather permitting, and we'll keep the trend and the form going.
Good. So, enough about us now. Let's talk about some people who are much better at golf. In the most recent tournament, which was the Zurich Classic. What a tournament! AB, do you want to kick us off with your thoughts from the tournament itself?
Yeah, can do, mate. So yeah, the Zurich Classic. It's a unique event on the PGA Tour calendar. It's the only team event basically that exists on the calendar. So everyone plays as a pair, and I think, to be honest, I didn't actually follow it much this year, but I think they do like kind of Ryder Cup format. So as in you do foursomes and four balls, like on alternate days.
Yeah, so
So
starts with the better ball, then goes
yeah,
foursome, then better
yeah,
ball, then foursome.
yeah. So you're in a pair for the whole weekend. There's some absolutely outrageous scoring. So I think like, the final score was -24 or -25 in a two-way playoff, but like it was like 11 under after day one. So like everyone was like, teams golf, you expect to go low, but I think the current sort of era of professional golf is like taking it to another level. But I did tune in for the final hour on Sunday and saw the boys, Rory and Shane, who we're big fans of on this pod. They're two of our favourite golfers, two big European names. And so I was absolutely buzzing to see them get over the line. Took it to a playoff. They should have won really in regulation, but they bogeyed on 17 and then had to pull it back on the 18th to take it to a playoff. But yeah, absolutely buzzing for them. They had a really good week. Weirdly, it was Rory's first time at the event, so he's never been to that event at all ever. So I think Shane's been there maybe a handful of times, but it's the first time that they've played together. Of course, they've been teammates on Ryder Cups, and they've also represented Ireland at the Olympics, the most recent one. But yeah, it was nice to just see them having a good week, winning, playing some good golf, and just the sort of friendship and camaraderie side of it, because that is kind of why a lot of us play. So obviously the pros, they play as individuals majority of the time, but it's really nice to see that sort of team element of it, which is obviously a bit ironic for me to say, given how anti-live we are on this pod. But
Well, I was
yeah,
going to say it is quite funny, isn't it? Because obviously, Live Adelaide was on this weekend, and there was a playoff between what are they called? I don't even know what they're called. The Rippers and whoever else.
well, that is a team, yeah.
Is that Cam Smith? The Australian team, basically.
Yeah,
Obviously, it was in
the
Adelaide.
Aussies are the Rippers, yeah.
Yeah, so it was them against whoever, and it was a team playoff because the teams tied. I don't really know how they've done it, but I seem to see a lot of people talking about it on social media, and it seems to have gone down quite well. But no, the Zurich one, I think I think it's relatable because most of us will play those formats if you are a member of a golf club. So I'm assuming this is the same at most golf clubs because the two that I'm members at have both formats in the winter and in the summer. So I'm just assuming that's a pretty standard thing. But, it's something that you do with your mates. So me and Ross have played in the foursomes. We actually got to the final one time. And, I think it's a bloody good format, the alternate shot one. And it's good fun to play with your mates. I wouldn't recommend doing it on necessarily like a Saturday morning, but the knockouts and stuff when you're actually playing a match, it is actually good fun. A lot of people find it quite difficult because in theory, you're only hitting half the amount of shots, right? Because it is alternate, so it's difficult. Some people find it hard to get their drivers going or get their putters going or various different. It's hard to get the feels if you're used to hitting the ball, every couple of minutes. You might be, if you're on a par 3 or something, you might just putt, and then if there's a couple of shorter holes, you might not hit your driver for like 2 or 3 holes, let's say, and then you have to all of a sudden pull it out the bag and put your partner in the middle of the fairway. Otherwise, they're not going to be very happy with you. So, yeah, it's good. But on the better ball, Rory and Shano shot 11 under on the first day, I'm pretty sure. And on the last day, now I can't tell you their names. I can't remember them. They're not really, they weren't really big PGA Tour names. The guys that are in the playoff I felt like they actually deserved more, because on the last day in the foursomes, which is alternate shot, they shot a round of 63, which is actually mental for alternate shot. It's nearly a PGA Tour record. I think the record's 62, but it's in New Orleans, which for those of you geographically who will know, that's like a place known for hurricanes. Unfortunately, they've had some big, serious disasters over the years that have been internationally, reported on. But the wind was ridiculous. It was like 30, 35 miles an hour wind. And like people, for the pros, I mean, Shane Lowry was hitting a 5-iron on a 180-yard par 3, which is, wind aside, probably the same club that I would use. And I've got a feeling Shane Lowry can probably hit it a little bit further than what I can. So, you know what I mean? And they were like trying to punch it under the wind, and they had to play some slightly different shots and whatnot. And it was causing a lot of problems. So to hit 63 on that last day as an alternate shot foursomes, I think it's extremely impressive, to be honest with you.
I think we can actually go live to our stats corner, which is AB, and he can provide some really insightful stats this week on the
He will
Zurich
confirm that Shane Lowry does hit a ball further than I do.
Yeah, I mean, well, actually, one of my stats about Shane will come later in the pod, so keep listening.
That'll keep him going.
yeah. So I do have a stat for Shane that will come in a later feature, but yeah, I guess just to round it off. I mean, they basically. Actually, do you know what? I'll just say it. Shane hits the fairway at the moment 81.55% of the time on the PGA Tour for 2024. So he is basically your fairway man. He's currently ranked number 1 for fairways across the whole PGA Tour for this year. So, and then when you put that together with Rory being also the longest driver on the tour regularly for like the last 10 years, they basically kept putting each other into good positions. Basically, they were a little bit. Shane was a little bit awkward off the fairways. I know he did hit a few long shots, but he put, especially towards the end, he forced one on the 18th to then that Rory had to do a wedge to basically get the playoff, and then also on the playoff hole he was a bit weak from the fairway, but the other two were just had a mare, so it was easy for them to sort it out. But yeah, I think overall the best sort of pairing for the week 1, and yeah, I think it was good. It's good for European golf. It's good for the PGA Tour to have 2 of the big names getting a win in a team event, and yeah, onwards to the next one, I think.
Talking of pairings, we actually had a question come in from one of our listeners, Ricky McDowell.
Is this our first ever question? Unprompted as well. So if anyone else has any other questions, feel free to DM us or message us. And if they're a good question, we will read them out and answer. But if they are shit, don't be offended.
So the question is, if you were to play the Zurich Classic that was on over the weekend, and you were to be paired with anyone in pro golf, who would it be and why? DB, let's come to you first.
Okay, so this is going to be, so not that I'm sitting on the fence. I'm going to give you 2 answers here because I couldn't decide which route I would like to take. So as I've previously just mentioned, I've actually played in some of these formats at my golf club with my golfing partner, who, and we've actually been relatively successful over the years and got to the final, and we've won quite a few knockout games, but taking some big scalps at the club like that we weren't expecting to win. And I think part of that is down to the fact that we are mates outside of golf. And what that means is for us is we actually like communicate, talk through the logistics of what we're actually trying to achieve on each hole, and try and leave the other one in like good situations. And because we are also friends, when it's not going well for the other one brings you up slightly because you are more like sympathetic, you know, oh, come on, mate, it's all going all right, it's okay, you know, blah, 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 blah. So I've sort of gone down a kind of like friendship group / who's going to dig me out the shit and pick me up sort of group. So I've chosen friend of the podcast, Wyndham Clark, as my first choice because mentally I feel that guy is like so strong, and I feel like me and him are on like similar vibes with like the mental side of the game. So I feel like combination wise, pre-match build up, we could actually like create some sort of good bond and good connection, and maybe achieve something very special together. Wyndham, if you're ever looking for a partner, give us a shout. You know where we are. And the second option that I've chosen, purely because every time I watch him, I just think, I want to be this guy's mate. And I think he's like just cool and good at golf and just generally seems like a really top bloke. And I was impressed with him at the Ryder Cup, despite him playing for America. So I'm going to pick, or my second pick would be Max Homer, for no other reason than I think he's a really good bloke who's good at golf, and I would like to play golf with Max Homer.
You'd have a good weekend if you were with Max Homer, I think.
Oh, I think so too.
Yeah. On and off the course.
AB, who's yours?
Yeah. So DB's come up with a couple of good shouts there. I think he's provided some good reasons, and it would be easy once we get a question like this. It's easy for us to pick an obvious answer, such as Rory or Scotty or whatever. So well done, DB, for coming out with a bit of a left field shout there and a bit out of the box. And I've done something similar, to be fair. So again, for me, you would think I would be going for someone English or European based on our allegiances, but I've actually gone a bit left field here as well. And so I'm going to consult my stats book again, because that's helped to justify my decision making here. But basically, if we go back to the beginning of the pod, when I talked about my own game and I said, I'm hitting at the moment for 2024, I'm hitting the fairway 60% of the time. So I'm fairly comfortable off the tee, right? So I think it's one of my strengths.
Of course, that would be exactly the same if you were playing a PGA professional course.
Yeah, mate, all the fairways are the same. You just got to hit them.
You can't reach them on there, pal.
No, I can. I'm averaging over 200 yards as well. So my year average with the driver is 220 as well. So I'm hitting it reasonable, and I'm hitting it on the fairway more often than not. And that is with a Yonex. So look out when I get a proper driver. But anyway, in terms of my logic here, I've gone with a Mr. Corey Connors as my partner for the weekend. So this is where we're going to...
friend of the podcast, might I add. We tipped him for Masters.
Friend of the pod. And also, channeling our initial birthright, which is Canada. So we got a little Canadian thing going on there. I think we'd have a good weekend. Just from a sort of me perspective, I've got quite a good knowledge of North American sports. So I'd be able to, chat about baseball, the NHL, and we'd have some good crack over the 4 rounds. But the reason I've picked him is because for this season, he's currently basically in the top 10 for everything in terms of approach. So in terms of approach to the green, he's 5th. Greens and reg, he's 3rd. And approach within 200 yards, he's 8th. So I'm thinking I would just stick us on the fairways, and your man Corey would put us on the greens, and then his putting stats are actually quite shit, so we're probably both knackered in the putting department. But at least we'd be on the green with a chance. In like, you know, hopefully in regulation. Like I said, he's third at the moment, so yeah, I've gone with Corey Connors basically because of his approach play stats, and I think we would be in with a shout.
Nice. I'm going to hop in and answer this one as well.
Go on,
And
Phil.
I haven't gone for anything that you said there, AB, around all these stats and stuff. I've gone down more of a DB route of who's going to be a good laugh. And it's someone I've been watching recently on YouTube, Mr. Bryson DeChambeau. I'm going to have him alongside me for a couple of reasons. The first one, I absolutely love when he hits a bad shot and then just says things like "Gosh darn it" and "shoot" and things like this. He's not like
Some of the
he's not having
Americans are funny like that, aren't they?
he's not having a go, which I can imagine. Like, I don't know, a few other people being a little bit pissed off. He's just going to compliment me. I'm going to hit it. Yeah, after about 3 shots, I'm then going to hit it, and he's going to go shoot, or yeah, that's fine, no worries, and just move on. And the second one is when he's in the greens and he's like going through all these like statistics around like, oh, you need to do a 2% here and it's this, that, and the other, and blah, blah, blah. I'm going to really enjoy listening to it. I'm not going to take any of it in or have a clue what he's talking about. But as soon as I miss it, he'll be able to say like, oh, you were 3 degrees off, blah, 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 this, that, and the other. And for some reason, I think that's just going to, yeah, I'll be like, yeah, okay, fine. I'll look like I know what I'm talking about for the next few holes. You know what I mean?
Look, without doubt, I don't care what anyone says, whether you like him or dislike him, he is the most fascinating man in golf, bar none. And he is like, obviously, he's like the scientist or the mad scientist or whatever. But what that guy comes out with when he's talking about golf is just utterly ridiculous. Like you're saying, like the way that his brain like works things out is just on another level. Like he actually, I feel like the way he designs his clubs and stuff, like he's telling club manufacturers, someone who's solely paid to make good clubs, he's telling them how to make clubs. That's that's their only job. He's got other jobs, and he's telling them. Mental.
When he's when he was just like, what was it happened? He was playing against Rick Shields, and he's like, Rick's 10 under, and basically Bryson's trying to catch him, and he turns around on just literally like the first fairway he gets onto, and he's like, right, okay, this is it's X distance away. He zapped it. It's X distance away, playing into the wind, which is this miles per hour. It means I'm going to need to play this shot. I'm going to go bang, 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 spin it this way. And then goes, after all of that, goes, that's a 10-30. And then goes, oh, actually, I apologize. It's a 10-15. You're like,
Yeah.
Right, okay. Like anybody has any idea what you're talking about, mate. So
just quickly on that, obviously, it's been a little while since we recorded our last pod, but there is a new friend of the pod, Mr. Rick Shields. So, for those of you who don't know, I asked Rick a question on his pod, which he loved, and he actually ran the London Marathon last week, whenever it was, and I was also at the start line of the London Marathon, not running, just dropping someone off so that they could run. But I managed to bump into Rick, and I said, "Hi, Rick, I'm Dan Barretto," and he basically said, "You were the guy that asked that question," and I was just like, "Yes, that is me," and we had a little chat. So I won't give too much away, but let's just say conversations may still be ongoing, and stay tuned, more to follow. CC Rick Shields, you know where we are, pal.
yeah, brilliant. We're just waiting on Rick now. The
Yeah.
one thing that we didn't think about with our partners, and nobody actually commented on, was the song that you would sing at the end. Obviously, Rory and Shane have gone for "Don't Stop Believing" by Journey. So you guys are up there with your partners.
Great song.
What songs are you going to be singing?
So I'm going to throw this one out there. I didn't actually take into consideration. This sums up my logic here. I didn't actually think about whether Wyndham Clark or Max Homer might like to sing these songs with me, but
Yeah.
I basically thought so. The song that I listen to the most and generally comes up top on my Spotify Wrapped at the end of the year is Touch by Little Mix. So I was just generally gonna have that. And then I sort of thought, well, it's in New Orleans and they aren't really like, probably don't really know who Little Mix are over there. So it might not go down that well. I don't listen to loads of American music. So I was trying to think like what other music do I listen to that they might know over there. And basically another song that comes up in like my top 5 is Lush Life by Zara Larsson. So
Banger.
I don't know
Banger.
if she's big in America,
What
but
are
if
you
that would go
talking
down better for the Americans, I could see me and Max Homer singing a bit of Lush Life, cruising. I feel like I listen to it when I'm driving, you know, it gives me real summer vibes. So that's what I'm going for, guys.
AB, what you got?
Yeah, mate. Well, little fact about AB, I'm partial to a bit of karaoke. So I have been known to do it once or twice. Once in front of a packed house at Twickenham Stadium. So kudos to me. But yeah, most people actually stitch me up and suggest the songs, and then I have to just get up and do it. But I do love it. I think with Corey, I think we'd probably struggle because I've picked him purely for stats, not necessarily for him being. Well, he's a good bloke, I think, but I don't think he'd be getting up on a stage to have a sing song. So my choice would actually be Rock DJ by Robbie Williams, and then I would probably just do it myself. Yeah, but
I thought for sure you were going to pick an Oasis song.
Well, that's the obvious answer again. We're trying to be a bit out there, aren't we, on this week?
Oh,
but yeah, I have done that. I've done that many a time in many different countries and many different environments. So I think it would be easy, but I would. I'll go with Robbie this time, and we'll knock that out of the park instead.
Nice.
Yeah, love it.
So for me, I'm up on stage with Bryson. We've just had the round of our lives. A couple of beers deep, and obviously I go and whack on a wig, come out, Dolly Parton, he's Kenny Rogers, and we do Islands in the And we absolutely nail it.
I could see that happening. What we're gonna have to do now is make like these TikToks of like us, like AI, like Max Homer in, and we'll have me and him bobbing away to Little Mix.
Yeah, I'm sure that
Max,
Max might actually listen to Little Mix. You don't know this.
You never know.
Let's ask him the question. He replies to a lot of people on social media. Let's just ask him.
Okay.
He'll definitely reply to, "Hi Max, do you like Little Mix?" He'll say, "What the fuck is that? Like sweets or something?"
You never know.
Yeah. I tell you what, I think we've rambled on quite a lot this pod. So once again, if someone's made it through this far, well done. Hope you've enjoyed that last bit of us singing with our partners when we've gone around the Zurich Classic. We just wanted to say a massive thank you to everyone who's been listening and helping us. We're not going anywhere. There's going to be lots more pods coming, so stay tuned. Obviously, give us a like, subscribe, depending on what platform you're coming from. A big 5 stars if you're on Spotify or Apple Music there. And we look forward to your questions, because you know that we're reading them out now. We look forward to your questions, so send them through on the old Instagram.
Just on the old questions, I don't know if we actually said that question was from Richard, 33, from the New Forest. So thanks very much for that one, Richard. And we have had another question, which we are going to get to on the next podcast, from Harvey, 33, in Gloucestershire. So we will get to that, Harvey. Thanks for messaging in, and we will get to that one on the next podcast. But if anyone else wants to send any questions in, like Clarky's just said, send them on through.
Right then, AB, play that outro music.
Yep. Well done, boys.
Well done, guys. Microphones are good, aren't they?
I think we'll get some good feedback.
Hope so, dude.
That's quite a
Practice.
funny
We have
pod.
Dolly Parton in this.